Hey, what's going on YouTube? Marine X back at it again. There's always 5 EDC, prep, survival, any type of gear that I always splurge on, no matter what's going on. You may decide that this doesn't work for you, and that's fine. But this is something that's always have to work for me. And number one has to be my EDC survival or get home bag, whatever the heck you want to call it. Something I always like to splurge on. It doesn't matter if you're gonna go like fully tactical, like this Vertex Siege here, if you're gonna go like fully rugged, which is something like this GoRuck GR2 Dyneema, or if you want to do something that's kind of like in between, which is tactical, but it's muted with this Vertex Ghost. It doesn't really matter which one is right for you. I like all of them for different reasons, but the biggest thing about them is you want something that has durability. It's gonna have good quality. You want something that has rugged materials, reinforced zippers, reinforced stitching, heavy duty zippers, multiple compartments and pockets if you like a lot of organization. If you don't like a lot of organization, plenty of loop on there for you to organize it however the heck you want. This is kind of that in-between bag that I just talked to you about, where this one has a little bit of hook and loop on the inside of the bag, so that if I want to customize it, I can put some more loop gear here, but it also has a few pockets built in as well. That's kind of like the nice mixture of the Urban Ghost when it comes from Vertex, where the GoRuck GR2 Dyneema has a whole lot more organization. It has pockets already built in, no loop panels. It does have molle webbing, so you can attach different things to it, but tons and tons of pockets already built into this. You want to get something that has a decent capacity as well. So this bag here is a 25 liter, which is going to be decent for an everyday carry, maybe a light travel bag, but you're going to put all your survival stuff, any of your EDC stuff. It's going to be able to take care of this pretty easily. Sufficient size for your essential gear. So whatever essential means to you, you want to make sure it's enough size for that. Make sure it's not excessively bulky. And I also believe you need something with a good amount of weather resistance. This bag has a lot of weather resistance. It's not, none of these are really waterproof per se. You can get the AquaGuard zippers and stuff, but all that stuff eventually wears away. I think you need to balance portability versus size when it comes to these. And then you're gonna find the nice mixture to it. If you're gonna go like all the way tactical, then you may not necessarily care how versatile it is because it's overly or it's pretty overt. Maybe you want molle all over the place, which is what you're getting here with this Vertex Siege. Maybe you want a rain cover capability. You want different pockets and chest cinches. Now, splurging can mean different to different people. If you make $25 an hour, I would say that maybe like 8 times your pay is a splurge for a specific item. So spending $200 on a bag is a splurge. I mean, if you're spending 8 hours of your pay on something, that can make a lot of sense. So this bag costs a little bit over $200. Catch it on a sale, then you could get, spend about 8 hours of your pay on it. That's like 1 day's work just to buy a bag. Whereas this GR2 Dyneema costs $525. And this is gonna basically cost you about two and a half day of your pay. So that's how I look at it, is I'm willing to spend an entire day's work on this particular item. I consider that a splurge, but something like this should last you for years, and you shouldn't necessarily worry about how much you had to spend on it, because it's something that you're going to be happy to hold on to for quite a while, especially if it has a good warranty, made in America. Then I think it's going to be very, very good for you. Now, the second thing I always splurge on, this is today's video sponsor, this is Ver, but the reason I've selected them is because I do believe they make all the categories for what I'm looking for in a watch. I need durability, reliability, water resistance, visibility, functionality, comfort, size, and weight. They make all that, and I think they do it with a good warranty as well. So I'm going to talk to you about the 5 series, the A5, the C5, when it comes to their watches. So on my wrist is the C5 Tactical Solar Watch. This one works with solar. 6 hours of sunlight will get you 6 months of reserve time on this particular model itself. It comes with 2 watch straps, very accurate quartz movement. I like everything about this. Or you may want to go ahead and get its big brother, which is the A5 Tactical. This one, instead of working with the sun, actually uses a rotor and it uses a mechanical movement. So it uses the kinetic energy of your body to continue the movement going. So I like this one a lot because I like the way automatic movement works. This one has a little bit more better loom than its little brother here, the C5. Both of them are a really good size when it comes to the size comparison. Not too big. You know, the most I like to do for a watch is about a 43 millimeter. But the reasons that I like to splurge on a watch, first of all, when it comes to getting lost, a watch can help you find your way. I'm not talking about a smartwatch. A smartwatch will eventually die. Yes, that can help you find your way. You can use the navigation dials to navigate between the sun and the time to figure out which way you should go if you're trying to go north, south, east, or west. You can do that with an analog watch. You can also get a watch that has bezel, that has different markings on it. You can use it for timing distances, counting your steps, etc. You can also use these for contacting help. So if you use these, catch the sun at the right angle, because these has sapphire crystal glass versus Gorilla Glass Victus on a lot of smartwatches, this might be better off for you for that type of stuff. Power outages. I like to splurge on a watch because when power goes out, eventually you're no longer going to be able to charge your smartwatch. And if there's no power, the smartwatch may have no connectivity because your phone may not be connected to cell phone tower. So it almost becomes useless. It knows the exact time without relying on electronics, setting alarms. You can keep up with timing tasks with these bad boys. For different emergency situations, another reason I like to keep a high quality watch on me is for timing durations, medical aid, rescue signals, all that type of stuff. You're trying to administer CPR, anything medical related, a lot better to do with an accurate analog watch with a second hand that you can see versus a smartwatch. A lot more other stuff as well. Also, you can use these for during the natural disasters, tracking time sensitive events, stuff like that. How long have you been underwater? How long have you been in a particular area? You get yourself a watch that has a bezel, then you can use it for that type of stuff as well. I'm a big fan of a quality watch, and whatever you do, I just advocate that you don't go with a smart watch when it comes to splurging purposes, because yeah, it's gonna feel like a splurge. You spend $200, $300, $700 on a smartwatch, but technology becomes old very, very fast. And that's what we're going to talk about later in the video for the two things I never splurge on. And at the end of the day, they're not really something that you can pass down to your kiddos. Water resistance is great on these bad boys. Thanks to Vera for sponsoring this video, and definitely check these out as well. Now, not just necessarily having a dependable or reliable watch is important. I think that maintenance gear is significantly important, because if you have good maintenance gear, you're going to have the ability to keep stuff that you have splurged on working longer, a significantly a better time when you actually use that piece of kit. And you're going to have the ability to fix the stuff on your own without always relying on someone to bail you out of a situation. It doesn't matter if it is sharpening stones, a sharpening system for your knives, if you have fix-it kits for your electronics that has all sorts of spades and bits and just different ways for you to take stuff apart. I think that a maintenance kit's incredibly important, because you just never know what you're going to get yourself into, what type of bit you may need for any of that type of stuff. I do all my own maintenance on a lot of stuff that we have. We have a MacBook screen that goes out, doing it, replacing that myself, changing out batteries, fixing O-rings on flashlights, any other type of small maintenance like that, taking knives apart, anything that has to do with my boomsticks as well. I like to keep high quality gear when it comes to my boomsticks, whether it's fix-it sticks, cleaning gear, whatever, because number one, you want to make sure your stuff is clean, especially if you send a lot of rounds down range, because you don't want anything to be dangerous. A dirty weapon is a dangerous weapon. It may malfunction. It may not send rounds through properly, etc. Number two, if you're taking off scopes, if you're taking off ACOGs, you're taking off lights or whatever, a lot of that stuff has different tolerances that have to be reattached to your weapon. That's why I like fix-it sticks. But if you don't have high quality maintenance gear, you may have the correct shape bolt or the correct shape socket, but you may not have a way to ensure you're putting it on your weapon correctly. Super important for that type of stuff. Even if it comes to maintenance in my multi-tools, I don't ignore those. Everything here I just showed you has a different way that it's important. Being able to know exactly what a Leatherman needs for maintenance purposes is important. Being able to have the different picks and tips and all that type of stuff, a lot less for me to do maintenance on my multi-tools, knives, electronics, sharpening, I think that maintenance is one of the most important things you can spend your money on. It may be one of the most boring things you can spend your money on. But if you spend the money on this stuff, you splurge on this stuff, it's going to give you consistent performance. It's going to give you extended lifespan. It's going to make your stuff more safe, more effective, more cost efficient because you're not buying more of those items over and over. And at the end of the day, it kind of gives you peace of mind. It gives me peace of mind to know when I pick up one of my weapons, it's clean and functioning properly. That may not be important to you, but that's kind of important to me. Next on the list is a first aid kit. Now, in years past, I didn't have this on the list, but I'm starting to notice more and more, whether it be from ouchie boo boo to trauma to just having your own DIY kit. Having a first aid kit is crazy important. Yes, it's going to help you address an emergency before the professionals arrive. Treatments for different injuries, scrapes, illnesses, bumps and bruises, medical situation, potentially life-saving measures. I think that you should splurge on that stuff. I recommend, if you can at first, to get a pre-built kit, learn it and restock it. Or if you DIY a kit, DIY your kits the same way. No matter if you're in a different vehicle, if you're in a different part of your house, you know exactly how they're pre-made and pre-built. The first aid kit I had in my restroom is the same I have in the restroom upstairs, whereas the pre-built kit I have in my vehicles are all the same. So I know exactly how to get to any specific item, and it makes a lot of sense for me. Long-term cost effectiveness, investing in a well-made kit keeps you from like nickel and diming, buying ouchie boo-boo band-aids every now and again. If you just have something that's reliable off rip, you won't have to worry about always running out to the store and getting something different. It also ensures safety. If your family knows that the stuff exists, they will also try to be safer, but they'll also go do their own preventative maintenance or take care of their own ouchie boo-boos, Neosporin, all that type of stuff. Last but not least is storage. Storage is so crazy important when it comes to your gear. Protection, durability, organization, security, concealment, long-term preservation, mental preparedness. I can give you so many reasons you should splurge on storage. Having secure storage makes sure that you don't get in trouble with the state, because if your weapons are locked up securely and away from your kids, not only will you always get to keep your kids, which is most important, but you don't have to worry about the state getting in your business because they got a hold of one of your loaded weapons. Proper maintenance keeps condensation or the wrong temperature from getting to a certain particular item. It's going to give you different levels of water resistance or waterproofing, depending on how much money you decide to spend on some stuff. Durability, protection. If you have a very bumpy, lifted truck like I do, and you're just throwing stuff in the bed that may get all over that rhino lining, may not be the best for a piece of kit versus putting it inside of a Pelican case, put it inside of a piece of kit that you know is going to be very, very reliable. Now we're going to talk about some stuff that I don't necessarily splurge on, but I will, but this is not a requirement. A pocket knife, whether it's a fixed blade or a folder. I think that if you have a good maintenance kit, if you have a really good sharpening system, it may get on your nerves to have to sharpen your knife more often, but you don't have to go heavy on a high-end blade. This is a giant mouse. This is a Tribeca. This is a Magna Cut blade and titanium and all this other type of stuff. Very nice knife. I spent a little bit under $200 on this. I got it on sale. I like it a lot, but if you don't want to spend 186 bucks on a knife, you want to get yourself a $10 Walmart knife, maybe spend a little bit more than that, maybe spend about 50 bucks on a knife. I think that if you get a good maintenance system together, learn how to sharpen it, or get a relationship with the actual manufacturer of the knife, like a Benchmades of the world, Spyderco's of the world, and just get it sharpened, reshape it, get the hardware replaced if and when any of that stuff goes out. So I don't think you need to splurge on knives. Next thing I don't really think you need to splurge on is technology. Cell phones, GPS trackers, sat phones, high-end walkie-talkies, ham radios. You don't have to splurge on that stuff. 70, 80 years ago, a lot of that stuff didn't exist. A lot of this stuff did. Bags, ways to do maintenance, storage, watches, all this stuff existed 80 years ago, 100 years ago. But your GPS trackers, your cell phones, all that stuff didn't exist, and people still found a way. People still made it work. And so if you're spending a lot of money on a GPS tracker system from Garmin, which I have, I got to pay the monthly subscription, which is $21 a month while I'm using it. If you're spending the money on a sat phone, and depends on how you have it set up, it's an exorbitant amount. You got to keep maintenance up on that battery that's internally built or external replacement of the battery. You're always trying to remember, did you charge it up? I don't think you need to splurge on that. Or even the thing that you carry with you every single day, your cell phone. I'm a big fan of my phones. I love my Google Pixel 9 Pro XL, but you don't have to splurge on. I got this thing $400 off on a deal, and it made sense for me to pull the trigger. And I've traded my phone in, got like another $100 off. So a 999 phone for like 400 bucks made sense for me. But I would have been happy with my older Google Pixel 6, which was 3 years old at the time. I just don't think you need to splurge on that stuff. Technology moves so fast. But comment down below, what are some things you like to splurge on? Is it clothing items? I didn't even mention stuff like that. Your boots, maybe eye pro, ear pro. There may be stuff that you use in your survival EDC kits that you always just blow a load on that I just can't comprehend. So I would love to know what your comments down below. If this is your first time stopping by, hit the subscribe button. I would love to have you a part of the battalion. If this is not your first time stopping by, well, thank you once again for watching me run my grape. For everyone else, we'll speak soon.